F-4 Phantom II. Born in the heat of the Cold War, the F-4 Phantom II smashed onto the scene in the late 1950s as a multi-role heavyweight designed to dominate both air and ground battles. This beast boasted twin engines roaring like thunder, carrying an arsenal that could turn the skies into chaos. Pilots loved its raw power and speed, but maneuvering this flying juggernaut was no walk in the park. Manhandling the stick felt like wrestling a wild bull. Tough as nails, yet it was a pilot's nightmare in close quarters, thanks to its size and sluggish handling at low speeds. Still, the Phantom's legacy is carved deep, a true warhorse that served through eras, proving deadly in Vietnam's skies and revered by aviators for blending brute force with versatility. While the West was perfecting speed, the Soviet Union unleashed the MiG-15, a cold, calculating predator built in the late 1940s with one purpose: control the skies with raw, relentless aggression. Its swept wings sliced the air, a design lifted straight from captured research, and its powerful afterburner gave it a terrifying punch. But the MiG was as ruthless to its pilots as its foes. High landing speeds and a tricky stall made it a gamble to fly, where one mistake could spell disaster. Still, in the hands of gifted pilots, it became an icon of the Cold War's deadly chessboard, feared across the globe and respected for embodying lethal simplicity wrapped in aerodynamic elegance. Hawker Hurricane. Before the Spitfire ruled the headlines, the Hawker Hurricane was Britain's unsung titan, crafted in the mid-1930s to be the backbone of RAF air defense. Its rugged frame, built like a tank on wings, could take punishment most fighters would never dream of, while its reliable handling made it a dependable partner in the chaos of dogfights. But pilot life wasn't easy. Cramped cockpits and tricky stalls during tight turns could turn even a veteran's heart racing. Despite being overshadowed by flashier machines, the Hurricane's grit and sheer numbers made it a lifeline during the Battle of Britain, earning deep respect for carrying the fight when the future of Europe hung in balance. F-4F Wildcat. Slamming onto the deck carriers in the late 1930s, the F-4F Wildcat fought like a scrappy street dog despite being outpaced by faster foes. Designed for rugged reliability more than flash, this tough little warbird packed punch with its sturdy frame and stable flight, forgiving but twitchy when pushed hard. Pilots had to wrestle the stick carefully. Too aggressive, and the Wildcat's notorious torque could flip the plane in a heartbeat. Still, it was a warrior's friend in the brutal Pacific battles, holding the line against Zero fighters when the odds looked impossible. Remembered today not for elegance, but for unyielding, stubborn courage. A6M0. The A6M0 was the perfect killer born in the early 1940s by Japanese engineers obsessed with weight saving and agility. Featherlight, it danced like a ghost across the skies, boasting maneuverability most Western planes could only envy. But this beauty was a double-edged sword. Pilots faced a nightmare in combat damage. With almost no armor, one lucky shot could ignite disaster. Manhandling its controls demanded finesse, and the lack of self-sealing fuel tanks made survival slim. Yet, its legacy echoes as a legendary predator, an aircraft that defined early Pacific air wars, terrifying foes with deadly grace until technology and tactics finally caught up. P-40 Warhawk. Crafted just before the world plunged into global war, the P-40 Warhawk was a chunky, aggressive fighter designed for rugged frontline combat. Its trademark shark mouth painted on the nose wasn't just for show, it embodied the Warhawk's fierce personality. Pilots admired its toughness but soon learned it was a pilot's nightmare in high-speed dives, prone to stubborn stalls that punished overconfidence. Still, the Warhawk earned lasting respect for its role with the Flying Tigers, chewing up Japanese aircraft in tight, gritty fights where raw courage mattered as much as speed. Today, it stands as a symbol of tenacity, a warbird that clawed against the odds with unbreakable spirit. F-4U Corsair. With its wildly bent wings and grumbling radial engine, the F-4U Corsair was a breathtaking marvel launched in the early 1940s to reign over Pacific skies. That inverted gull wing wasn't just style, it gave the massive fighter the struggling ground clearance it desperately needed. While its sheer speed and firepower made it a sky monster. But for all its glory, landing was an unforgiving ritual. The beast's visibility was poor, leaving pilots guessing inches from deck or runway. Torque rolls and tricky stall characteristics demanded absolute precision, turning landings into heart-pounding ordeals. Loved by veterans for its ferocity, the Corsair remains a fearsome legend, pushing the limits where master craftsmanship met raw pilot skill. P-47 Thunderbolt. Built for blunt force, the P-47 Thunderbolt burst into the scene mid-war with a brutal bulk that shrugged off damage most would crumble under. Its massive air-cooled engine roared like a freight train, a sound that struck terror in enemy cockpits over Europe's skies. This giant was a tough old dog, but its sheer weight and speed made it a handful at low speeds. Approaches were dicey, and getting the beast on target required steady hands. Despite its pilot-hating quirks, it forged a reputation as a flying tank, delivering overwhelming firepower with a ruggedness that ensured it could punch through the worst and still come home. Today, it's a symbol of resilience and unmatched firepower, revered by those who love a machine that was unforgiving but unstoppable. P-38 Lightning. Like a bolt from the blue, the P-38 Lightning zapped into existence in the late 1930s with a radical twin-boom design that turned heads and hearts alike. Built for speed and long range, this Predator dominated with its unique silhouette and heavy cannon fire delivered from the nose, perfect for pilots who wanted to punch fast and hard without spinning out. But the Lightning was no gentle giant. Early versions had nasty visibility blind spots and tricky stall behaviors that could snatch away pilots not ready for its quirks. Still, its legacy soars as the hunter that struck deep into enemy territory, a machine with the soul of a lightning bolt, fast, deadly, and unforgettable. P-51 Mustang. When the P-51 Mustang hit the skies in the early 1940s, it was the love child of innovation and raw American ambition, a sleek, razor-edged hunter designed to escort bombers far into enemy territory. Its laminar flow wings sliced through air with grace, giving it a breathtaking mix of speed, maneuverability, and range unmatched at the time. But don't be fooled, this beauty was no novice's ride. Balancing the Mustang demanded finesse, too aggressive in battle and its stall could bite hard. Pilots praised it as a game-changer, a true partner that balanced power and poise with deadly efficiency. Today, the Mustang remains the gold standard, a symbol of air combat mastery and poetic engineering. F-6F Hellcat. Designed out of necessity by mid-war, the F-6F Hellcat crashed into the Pacific arena like a thunderclap, a reliable, heavy-hitting machine that addressed all the Wildcat's flaws and then some. Its hardy construction and forgiving nature won pilot hearts quickly, standing tough under fire and manhandling the stick with surprising ease. But that's not to say it was all smooth sailing. On the edge, the Hellcat would bite fiercely if pushed too far, with tricky torque during rapid throttle changes. Still, this fighter became the ace-maker, responsible for more kills than any other American carrier plane, etching a legacy of brute efficiency and survivability in brutal battles. Supermarine Spitfire. The Spitfire is more than a plane, it's a love letter to aerodynamic art, born in the early 1930s with those elegant elliptical wings designed to slice sky with minimal drag. This British masterpiece was built to dance, light on the controls yet razor-sharp in turns, a pilot's dream and, at times, a nightmare with its sensitive stall characteristics demanding respect. Often described as unforgiving of mistakes, it forced flyers to become masters of finesse. Yet, its balance of beauty and lethal precision secured air superiority in the Battle of Britain and beyond. Today, the Spitfire is adored as the quintessential fighter, an emblem of hope, skill, and pure passion for flight. FW-190. The FW-190 stormed into existence in the late 1930s, built by the Germans as a robust, versatile Predator designed to outmatch Allied fighters with raw power and rugged build. Its radial engine rumbled like a beast, and the cockpit's layout screamed, "Fighter's machine," putting pilot needs front and center. But that tight cockpit and sharp controls made it unforgiving. Aggressive moves could easily push pilots into fatal stalls. Still, this Iron Wolf carved a fierce reputation as a frontline workhorse, flexible in roles from interceptor to ground attack. The aviation world remembers it as a brilliantly engineered fighter that balanced power and precision with a dash of danger, a true legend in the ruthless skies of World War II. Bf-109. Perhaps the most iconic Axis fighter, the Bf-109 was the Luftwaffe's spearhead launched in the mid-1930s, engineered to strike fast and hard with a streamlined fuselage and a tight cockpit that breathed deadly efficiency. Its lightweight frame was built for blistering climbs and quick strikes, but that compact design came with a pilot's nightmare: brutal landing tendencies due to narrow undercarriage and twitchy stall characteristics that demanded nerves of steel. Still, it was a relentless hunter, crucial from Spain to the Eastern Front. Pilots both feared and revered it, and today, the Bf-109 stands as a symbol of cutting-edge design twisted with deadly quirks, a mechanical predator emblematic of aerial warfare's harsh realities. MiG-21. Fast forward to the 60s, the MiG-21 appeared as the Soviet Union's lightweight flash of death, a small, dart-like interceptor designed to climb fast and strike with brutal speed. Its delta wing gave it agility at supersonic speeds, but that sleek shape hid sharp edges. This flying missile was brutal in close combat, unforgiving to mistakes and demanding lightning reflexes to tame. Early variants had minimal avionics, leaving pilots relying purely on guts and skill. One slip could turn victory into catastrophe. Despite its intensity, the MiG-21 became the backbone of countless air forces worldwide, a deadly, admired predator that kept proving just how far cunning engineering could push raw aerial combat.